Hello everybody and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program, where we just finished up our Moon and Gilly and Minmus science stations. We're going to be getting some more science back from those for a little bit there, but I do want to get our science maxed out here, and what better way to do that than a quick jaunt over to Ike. So we of course set up our lander for that last episode. We have our container module. This is the autosave version, isn't it? I think I loaded the autosave. Okay, we're gonna open this version. We've got, yes, everything we need for our Ike outpost. That's fantastic. And we've also got our ladders that are slightly awkward, but I'm sure it's fine. We're going to just launch this, but we need to bring the correct crew. Now, does it matter whether we bring Deb or Valentina? It really doesn't. So I'm going to bring Jeb here just because he's in the first slot here, and I like to think of that as the pilot slot. We're going to bring in Hadgard, of course, and at some point we're going to have to bring back our scientists that are in orbit around Moon and Minmus. That is going to be important. But for now, let's go ahead and launch this lander, and we're heading off to Ike. We're going to get just a ludicrous amount of science from this, more than enough to max out our science tree. So with that done, we're not going to have to worry about science at all, and that will be great. From there, of course, we can simply work on getting our actual goals done, which would be, doing some asteroid mining, which we've done very little of thus far, I'll be the first to admit. But let's go on and get out of here. So off we go. We'll start pivoting on over here. We can definitely see we've drifted off of our heading slightly, so let's just adjust that. And let's just lock prograde for the time being. And let's see how badly this goes. Oh, my Ascent profiles are definitely non-optimal. There's no doubt about that, but this is why I overbuild. This is absolutely why. I mean, really, this is looking reasonably okay as far as an Ascent profile goes. This one's looking fine. We'll see if I adjust that opinion a little bit later on, of course. Our SRBs are going to be burned off in 20 seconds here. Make that 15. And in 10 seconds, our SRBs will be burned off. Our altitude is getting up there. So it looks like we have too much vertical. Yeah, I'm not shocked about that. Goodbye, SRBs. And let's just see. It's a little dangerous to do this, but let's see if we can head over towards the horizon here. It looks like things are okay on that front. So we'll just position here at the horizon. We're just looking for horizontal speed at this point. That is all that we're looking for. Okay. I think we'll burn out this whole stage, and then we'll wait until we are in space proper to utilize this stage, just for efficiency's sake. Cool. So we're at 90 kilometers right now, and continuing to get some horizontal speed. We can see that we have almost entirely, well, not almost entirely, we have like 75% horizontal speed at this point. Apoapsis is up over 100 kilometers. We'll go ahead and separate. And I'll burn a tiny amount just to get us separated. There we go. And from here, we will circularize. Okay, something along the lines of this will do just fine. We're now officially in space, and we can see that our burn will begin in 1 minute. We should extend our solar panels, even though there's no sun right now to... the sun's off over that way. There's no sun right now to catch on solar panels, but that's fine. We've got 50 seconds here until our burn begins. And we'll go ahead and warp forward. Okay, 3 seconds. And there we go. We'll physics warp as we get into orbit. And this burn will be done fairly shortly. We've got about a minute left on it, so not too bad. Still about a minute. 45 seconds. There we go. Down to 30 seconds. And 20 seconds. 10 seconds. We're now officially in orbital mode, even if we're not technically in orbit. Okay. This is close enough. No real problem there. We'll flip around to prograde. Okay, sounds good. We are now officially in orbit. I'm actually going to flip to normal, not to prograde. And the reason for that is because I want to ditch our nose cones. So, we are going to retract our solar panels just in case. Not like they're doing anything right now anyway. Off goes our nose cones. Back to prograde. And our solar panels can come back out here. Cool. So with that done, of course, next we need to be doing a moon flyby. So we'll set moon as our target. And let's see about, I don't know, maybe a burn. This is going to be in orbit. So around here? It's maybe reasonable timing. Is that escape velocity? It is. Are we impacting the surface? We are not. About 30 kilometers. Looks good. So we're going to set up for that. We'll physics warp as we turn over there. And we'll warp to this burn. About 25 minutes. Let's go. Our timing was definitely a little bit off for our moon flyby, but that's fine. Get our nice gravity assist going here, and we're going to be off in just a moment. We need to warp forward a few more seconds. And we'll begin this burn now. Okay, we don't actually care about getting this exact trajectory here. All we want is an escape velocity. So that'll be fine. We will physics warp our burn. And that'll be about a 2-minute burn before we get our escape trajectory. Wonderful. 500 meters per second to go, and about 1 minute more to burn. We burned about half of our maneuvering stage, which is fine. This is pretty much exactly what we expected. Okay, only about 10 seconds left in this burn, so let's take it out of physics warp so that we don't have that shimmy going on. 20 more meters per second. And that'll do. Assuming that we don't have impact trajectory, and we don't, so this'll do just fine. So we are out of here, and next up, we are going to be on this orbit here, in theory. One of these orbits. We're going to need to warp forward a bit, like here. So we'll warp forward 4 hours, because there's too many levels of patched comics. Goodbye, Kerbal. We will be back. Hello, Moon. We are just here to steal some of your gravitational energy. I'm sure you won't notice. Okay, we are now going to warp to here to get another level of patch conics. There we go. 2 hours left in that warp. That is fine. And we can now see that we're going to be on this trajectory here. We're going to be, like, up over here. So that's fine. We're going to set Duna as our target. We're, of course, heading to Ike, but Duna will be close enough. Now, Duna is basically exactly on the trajectory, or not trajectory, basically exactly on the inclination that we're on right now. So we could potentially look for just an encounter here. Our timing is a little awkward. We're not shocked by that necessarily, considering how little effort was put into timing this. This is completely expected. This is actually not as bad as I might have thought it would be. Yeah, this is doable. And there's an encounter. Is it a bad encounter? Maybe. I mean, we can see Ike here. It is going this direction. We're going this direction. So we're not retrograde either. I would like to lower this periapsis a bit, for sure. Which direction? this direction. Oh, nope, that's barely in. We probably need to go a bit normal here. Oh, that was too normal. Too normal. Bring it back. Bring it back. There we go. Okay, so I want to look... Yeah, that's about right. I don't want to do any radial here, so let's just turn this way, way down. Okay, that's too much. Okay, bring it a bit retrograde. It's just a little awkward to mess with it here. Although we could probably do something like that. Do we need to go a little radial here? We do need to go a little radial here. Oh, that's too radial. Too much radial. This is almost good. Almost good. A little less. Yes. That'll do. I would like to take it slightly normal as well. I want to try to match this inclination as best we can, and that's actually pretty close. So we'll call that good. And that's not going to burn all of this maneuvering stage. So that's beautiful. I'm actually super happy about that. We're going to go ahead and begin our warp, but we're not going to warp directly to this maneuver node. First thing we're going to do is we're just going to manually warp here until we are in space high over the sun. Okay, we got some science there. Still over Kerbin's water. Sure. We should be out of here pretty soon. Wait, what brought it back to 10x there? I'm not actually sure what brought it back to 10x. Okay, now we're in space high over the sun. Perfect. So we're going to grab our mystery go observation and material study here. Just scraps of science. Barely any at all. It's almost not worth doing. In fact, it's very arguably not worth doing. Very arguably. But we're going to have Haggut hop out here. And we'll climb on down. We'll restore the Science Junior and open up the service bay. And restore the Mystery Goo Containment Unit as well. Now I want to hop back in here. We can see that there's still 0.1 that we can grab from the material study here. So we'll keep that, and then we will collect that data, restore it, and close this service bay, and up we go. Maybe. There we go. Now we'll hop in. Cool. There's all of our science from there. We'll collect everything we possibly can, but we can't collect all of that much. And we'll begin to warp to this burn. Now, this is going to be a pretty long warp, and we're going to get a lot of science on the way. That's absolutely fine. I'm going to pause the recording here, though, and I'll come back at the end of this warp. See you in a moment. Okay, the time warp is over here, and I did move the camera there. I'm trying to smooth out that harsh cut. I need to figure out maybe a better way to do that. But the time warp is over, and we are ready to commence this burn. So we've got about 30 seconds here before the burn timing. And we'll warp forward slightly and burn. Cool. It's going to be a fairly lengthy burn, so we will physics warp. It's going to be about a 2-minute burn. And you can see our apoapsis heading on out here. That is wonderful. We also have all of these various objects here. That's fine. We will work on getting those eventually. I just want to get our science completely out of the way so we don't have to worry about that anymore. So that'll be great. 400 meters per second left in this burn. Okay, 200, 100, and walk to that maneuver node, please. Thank you very much. Okay, we're gonna get this last little bit of burn done. We want to make sure that it's fairly accurate. 1 meter per second left. I mean, it doesn't have to be this accurate, right? This is good enough. So next, at this periapsis, we will burn retrograde just to enter orbit here. And this is going to burn off the rest of the tank. That's fully expected. Cool. We can burn it something kind of like this. You can see our inclination is definitely off, but it's not awful. I do want to have this be a fairly circular orbit for interception purposes. It does make it a lot easier to find an intercept. So that'll be good. And we will go ahead and physics warp our turn here. And now it's going to be another fairly lengthy burn. So, or rather, not burn, a fairly lengthy time warp here. So once again, I'm going to pause the recording here, and we will be back in 250 days. See you in a moment. Okay, I brought it back slightly early this time because I didn't want to miss us entering... There we go. I didn't want to miss us entering Duna's sphere of influence there. So that's absolutely wonderful. We're going to grab our crew report, our temperature scan. We're, of course, going to need to open up our service bay. We're going to grab an atmospheric pressure scan, a mystery goo observation, a material study, eventually, a magnetometer report. There we go. Eventually again. Perfect. And collect all of that data. Now, that's not everything that we can do here, but our burn is in 20 seconds. So we are just going to prepare for that. 2, 1, 0, burn. We're going to ditch this stage fairly soon here. We're going to get about halfway through this burn before it's gone. So let's just wait here for a moment. We can watch this burn time here to know when the staging is going to happen. That'll be in about 2 seconds. And there we go. Our thruster weight here is quite low. That's to be expected. Only 1.2. We're not intending to land on Duna, so that'll be fine. This burn will be done in about a minute, so that's great. We do want this to be quite circularized. So we'll bring it on down, and then we'll get our science from In Space High. It'll be a bit before we get around to the ascending and descending node. So that will be our first goal, is getting our science here. So let's bring our apoapsis down a bit. Good enough. Okay, so we'll set Ike as our target. And we can see here our descending node is going to be in 3 days, so we've got time. No problem whatsoever there. That's not that bad of an inclination change either. Let's go ahead and have Hadgard EVA. We're going to grab our EVA report. And we'll hop on down here. Restore the Science Junior and restore the Mystery Goo Containment Unit. And we're going to grab these again. We'll keep both of those experiments, collect the data, restore them again. And of course, this data will get stored up here in the module. We don't have anywhere else to store that data, so this will do. Let's not teleport Hadgard. Hadgard, the mighty teleporting scientist. Gotta love him. Okay, at this point, we can head over to the descending node, and we're going to need to burn normal here, not anti-normal. So we will go, that's too much. That was way too much. This is less than I expected. Absolutely. 9.6 meters per second. Okay. That is not much at all. Well, we'll get ready for that. And let's warp on over. That's only 3 days, so that's not too bad. And we're pretty much ready for this burn. This can happen basically at any time here. So we're just going to do something like this. Should be good enough. Oh, yeah. Okay, so at this point, we now want to try to set up an intercept. And that should be a pretty simple intercept, too. Oh, yeah. Like, that's landing. We don't necessarily want to land just yet. This is extraordinarily solid. That's basically a capture. I really like this encounter. Very minor periapsis retrograde burn here to get captured here. Basically no delta V. I love it. So we're going to get set up for that. That burn is going to be in about 4 hours. So we will warp to that. 3.5 hours. Can definitely see Ike here. About 10 minutes, and we're about a minute away. And burn. Excellent. We want to make sure that we get this encounter as it is here. Or very close to it. That's close enough, I think. So at this periapsis, we're going to want to add a maneuver. That'll be a very small retrograde burn. I mean, we could actually bring this down quite a bit lower. Down to, I don't know, something along the lines, well, in space low over Ike, whatever that is. Maybe like 20 kilometers? That's probably considered in space low. I don't know it off the top of my head, but something along the lines of that should do the trick. The next step, though, would be to warp here, which is 3 hours away, or rather 3 days away, and we are heading on in. Hello, Ike. In space high over Ike's western mountain ridge. So we're going to line up for that maneuver, and while we're doing that, we are going to grab all of our science over Ike. This is all in space high science, of course. There will also be in space low science. If we really wanted to be clever with this, we would have done an arrow capture, by the way, with Duna there. that definitely would have been the clever way to do it. But I'm not that clever. We'll collect all here, and Hadgard will hop out, grab his EVA report, and he'll climb on down. We'll do the same reset trick over here. Little closer for the mystery goo. There we go. Restore all of that, observe the mystery goo, and we will conduct the material study. We will collect the data, restore, and keep that experiment, collect the data, and restore. And up goes Hadgard, hopefully not teleporting into the solar panel this time. Cool. Nowhere else to store that information, so for now, all we can do is hop over to the periapsis. That's about 3 hours away. And so we will head on in here. This periapsis isn't super low, of course, but we'll just warp on towards this a bit. And we'll commence our burn in about 5 seconds here. 2, 1, 0. Cool. 50 meters per second left. And this burn is nearly over. Probably good enough there. Yes, definitely good enough. So now we want to warp until we are in space low. We'll see how this goes. Okay, that's definitely not in space low. That's in space low. Okay, so in space low here is 50 kilometers. Sounds good. We'll grab our science here. Right, we need to open this back up. And grab our magnetometer report as well. We'll collect all of that data. And there we go. And we'll have Hadgard EVA, grab an EVA report, and head on down once again. Hadgard, there you go. That's the ladder. Hadgard was hovering above the ladder there. I love it. We're going to restore our science experiments here, and we will re-observe them as we have been. Okay, we'll collect that data and restore, and collect the data and restore. This will all get stored, of course, in the service module. Rather, the crew module here. So there we go. That's all the data we can get there. At the periapsis here, we definitely want to bring our apoapsis down to be something along the lines of this. This would do. So we'll head over to that maneuver node. And hope that 20 kilometers is safe. I think it is. I think it's safe. But we'll just warp on towards this next burn. Oh, I missed a... Here, we'll just do that. We'll warp on towards this next burn. I didn't want to miss that biome, necessarily. Okay. Hadgard, go ahead and grab that Midlands report. There we go. Central mountain range. We'll grab that as well. And we'll continue to warp forward. 1 more minute until our burn. And the burn will commence in 5 seconds. Now. Excellent. Okay, we've got about 10 seconds left on this burn. We are just lowering our apoapsis down, of course. For now, we're not too interested in picking out a spot for landing. This is, I think, close enough. Oh yeah, that's close enough. Okay, we're just gonna warp forward for a little bit here and try to grab what science we can from biomes. Actually, I don't think it matters. I don't think we need those EVA reports, if I'm honest. We could just go in for a landing here. We are on the sun-facing side. Maybe we want to land in this biome here. Could do. Okay, let's do it. So we're going to start decelerating. You can see here we are now in impact mode. I want to kill our horizontal speed almost exclusively right now. Okay. It's looking decent. Didn't want to do that. I accidentally turned off the engine. That was not the plan. You know what? Let's just go into retrograde mode. What is our thrust weight here? 4.05? Sounds good. Ike is definitely a bigger moon than Gilly. There's no doubt about that. Okay, I'm going to physics warp for the time being. Our surface velocity is much, much better now. I want to hold here and continue to burn off almost entirely horizontal speed for the moment. I just want to bring our horizontal speed down to virtually 0. There. That'll do for the moment. And let's warp on in. Actually, how long on the suicide burn? 2 minutes? Okay. Minute and a half? 50 seconds. 30 seconds. I'm kind of tempting fate here. 20 seconds. This is maybe an awkward place to be landing, now that I'm looking at it. We'll see how it goes. About 10 seconds on the suicide burn, and we're going to burn it slightly early because I usually don't trust this number entirely. 5 seconds? Okay, let's burn it now. We'll see how flat it is where we end up landing. I don't know how flat it's going to end up being. We'll burn here until the countdown is at 15 seconds, and then go again. It's not the most efficient landing, but it will do. 14 and 15. So we'll drift down for another 10 seconds. And we'll get that landing burn happening now. This time I'm only going to go to 10 seconds. Okay. Drift down for another 5. Not the most efficient way to land for sure. Okay. We are currently about 600 meters above the surface. 500 meters. I'm kind of ignoring this number now and going by my gut at this point. Which is always the best way to pilot, right? 100%. Okay. Moving at about 14 meters per second currently. And let's just bring this into a very gentle deceleration. And a little more gentle, or a little faster rather. Okay. And that'll do. Now this landing was okay. I'm not going to be too upset about that. And with that, it is time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And next episode, we're going to do all of our science-y bits here. and then we're going to head on home. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including Casserole, Sigma162, JJ Gamer, Spartan News, Rose Valentine, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.